Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Path of Exile. My name is Wilfred. In the past couple of days, I've been posting quite a fair number of Path of Exile car videos because I've been leveling and I've been facing quite a lot of challenges as well. So I thought I'd share my experience with you. And also, there has been a lot of you who are very keen to help me out, both in game, a lot of comments, a lot of advice and so on, and I'm fully aware some of this, what I could improve. And I'd like to share the journey with you because it's quite easy to think that this game, is rather straightforward when you have been playing it for years. But for those who are rather new, it could be quite a challenge. So in this video, I'm going to post the progress of me from my mid 40-ish kind of gameplay, and also share with you the improvement I've made on my gear, on my setup, and I hope it will inspire or help some of you who are also going through the same journey. So this video is all about Act 4. I'm still playing a bit of a labyrinth just to practice on how to evade some of this like a big damage, some of this mechanic, and it's all about Act 4. And all the bosses, mini bosses will be featured in this video. It's a little bit special because I think all in all the fight has been rather clean because I have experience with this game. At least I play about a couple of leagues, but I can imagine if you are new, you probably would die to some of this mechanic because you just have to learn. And I've seen those because I'm doing Act 5 right now, and it's really hard because I'm just not quite sure about mechanic just on the spot. Try to think, on my feet. It's kind of hard. So, in any case, this is the labyrinth kind of fight, and there are a few idols. I think it's a little bit different from the one that I featured before, because I think the one before was one of the guardian that you have to kill, and this one you have to make sure that none of these get summoned into a guardian. I'm not quite sure. But in any case, this is phase 2, and then there is a phase 3 as well. I think this is the final phase. I've been talking, I haven't been paying attention to it. But this is the final phase of the boss, and because I have been doing pretty well in the other one, the other field, the other two phases, I'm not facing a lot of challenges here, which is good. But sometimes if you are thinking that you're owning the boss, you may want to ignore some of these mechanic on phase 1 and 2, make the last phase more challenging. I believe they drop more keys or loot for you to open the cache later. So that's done, Izaro, one treasure key, but I think there are more if you make it more challenging. And this game is very much like a sandbox. You can adjust the challenge level that you want to make it more fun for you. Now, just share with you a little bit about my setup, and I'm more or less kind of like overcome my attribute kind of problem in my last video. I managed to get my strength and intelligence up through the passive tree, the 2 nooks that I've shared with you in plus 30, and it helps a great deal. So all of a sudden, I'm able to equip some of those gear that I was not able to. Because they have an int or strength requirement, as well as the dam, I could upgrade like a whole bunch of it on the left hand side, right hand side there. So that's nice. Make it a lot easier. Now, how is my setup like? Well, first thing first, I've got my whirling blade, which is the one that helped me to dash around. I link it with the faster attacks, so with that it runs faster, and I link it with fortify as well, so that if I get across to any mobs, I would be able to reduce the damage taken, so that it's kind of neat and nice. And it's so close. It's kind of really scary, this game. It's just so many of this moment. I mean, right, I got shot again. I mean, right now there's no XP penalty, but I try as much as possible to play it well, because sooner or later there will be. So unless you have conditioned yourself to be careful playing this game, then any game will be rather challenging. So yeah, so that is one set of it. I've also took some of your advice, and it was also in my plan as well to use Assassin's Mark with the Blasphemy. So I don't need to cast it manually. Whenever I'm near to it, I'll be able to cast it. So I think that is rather useful. But it's just that Blasphemy has a very high, well, relatively high int kind of requirement. Same as Fortify that I've linked it to the dash, it has quite a high strength requirement. So that is the reason why I didn't use it. It's not that I didn't want to, it's just I didn't have enough int to do it. I've also got Herald of Eyes now. I sort of like, it took me a while to figure that one out. It's because it's not my first lead. My last week I used the Herald of Ash for my Ice Crush Slayer. And Herald is one of those spells that I always find a little bit confusing. So what it does is an aura that add damage to everything that I'm doing right now here. And also if I manage to freeze any target, when I kill it, it will explode. So it synergizes pretty well with my Ice Spike on my Frostblade. So that is the Herald that I've been using. So you see that I run into aura. My mana reserve is I think 25 plus I don't know, can't remember, 60 or whatever it is. So I left with about 1/3 of my mana, but that's okay. I've got some mana regen here and there, so that is not really too big of a deal for me. If I'm having quite a lot of kills, I think if I'm not wrong, Assassin's Mark is one of those that I could regen the mana as well. But this fight, just pay attention to it. It's rather hard. I think there are some instances that it could be just reflect onto me. I can't quite recall, but I realized that it could be just the blade that is around me that I have to run away. Like I don't know what it does right now. So all this blade is actually very harmful. Sorry. And you can see that at some stage, I thought the boss actually reflect upon the damage onto me. I'm not quite sure. I watch it like right now here. It's just not quite sure. If I hit, it seems to. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. So the two main power I've got is the Molten Strike as well as Frostblade. So Frostblade, I link it with faster attacks, so it hit faster for the Frostblade. Ice Spike, I've got it as well, and also I've got the Increased Crit, which is a blue gem. Now ideally I could link it to something else. I think a lot of you have suggested things like multi-strike and stuff like that, but I just the socket color that I don't really have, and I really running low on resource in terms of orbs. I think sometimes I could live with certain things, and I mean, if I come across a gear with the right socket color or so on, I mean, I'll try to do it, because I've got the rolling a color to the gear depends on a couple of things, right? So if your gear is natively dexterity, so when you roll color, most likely you get green anyway. So if you try to get 3 red and 1 blue, whatever, into your dexterity item, it's going to cost quite a lot. Wow, this is quite scary as well. It's going to cost quite a lot of gems to do it. Now I don't mind doing it for M-gang gear that I have, but this is leveling, and sometimes I just make do with what I have. So I think the setup is not ideal, I agree, but it's something that I could deal with it. And as for Molten Strike, it linked with the Ancestral. Well, by the way, this fight also quite scary. I made one mistake here. I link it with the Ancestral Core that kind of, when you hit and targets, it will bounce off and hit another target, stuff like that. So I mean, by the way, this party fight so far so good, and after that I stood at the wrong place, nearly died over there. Scary. I also link it with the for the 2 green, I link it with the faster attack and additional cold damage. So I don't think it's really ideal, but like I said, I mean, it is the 2 green that I have. I can't roll too many time, because that is natively a green item. So yeah, and last but not the least, the Ice Golem that you see here, because the Ice Golem actually has a crit, I think crit support as well, I mean more crit as well. So this radar is very much like a crit build, and yeah, I mean it's kind of fun, because the last league I play a non-crit build, meaning that my character cannot crit, but he cannot miss as well. So I think that was the gameplay for my last character. These are some of the mini bosses leading to Malachi, and I would like to also comment a little bit about the Malachi fight as well, because I know some of you who are new and find it a little bit challenging for the Malachi fight, which actually after 3 or 4 leaks is not that terrible. By the way, there are purple thing on the ground that if you touch it, it will explode a little bit. It doesn't hurt me too much, so I wasn't that careful. But I think at 5 onwards, the game mechanic mean a lot. There's a lot of high damage stuff going on. This is the witch that is rather famous, by the way, from a story point of view. The Sharon is, I think she has created Brutus, which is the warden in the Act 1, if you recall, at the prison. That kind of remind me of the warden in Diablo 3, by the way. Yeah, so it is interesting. It's a lot of candle around her. Don't know what exactly does it do. Okay, Malachi fight. Going to talk a little bit about that in just a bit. And the graphic is fantastic, by the way. It's very gruesome. A lot of hits. So phase 1, Piety is going to help you to fight Malachi, but from time to time she will be possessed, and you have to take down Piety. So it's like 2 stages within the first stage. So now it's into Malachi. Try to avoid his tendrils. I don't know what is it called, man. The slam as well. Try to avoid that. And after that, switch over to Piety. But then the problem is that there's a lot of blood balls and the tendril as well. From that fight, you have to get out from there. But because I'm a melee, so it's all about positioning. And going back to Malachi again, try to avoid this tendril. After that, the slam. You have to avoid that as well. And then after that, you go back to Piety. Rinse and repeat. Avoid the balls if you can from them. It's just that a little bit hard if I'm doing melee. It's just one of those things. Okay, now going back to Malachi, avoid the tendril, and after that is whatever. Then, yep, then you can see the Piety is dead. So mana is gone because single target I can't regenerate through the curse, I think. So now Piety is, I mean, if you follow the whole story, seems that she has been dead so many times. You see her in every single act. I think that's the only villain that you see in every single act. I haven't really gone through the act 6 and beyond. No spoiler here for me and for the group, but I'm quite keen to see if she can survive through other acts as well. Okay, so this fight, you just avoid the tendril. So I don't know what you call it, but that's the tendril to me. Avoid the bombs on the floor as well. And after that, you take down the heart. There are 3 hearts that you need to take down. So this is the heart of the beast. So you just need to take down, avoid the tendril, and after that, try not to step onto the red sigil on the ground like this one here. It took out a bit of my health. Try to avoid the ball as well. The ball will kind of like hit you for quite a fair bit. It split into 3. Then on the ground has some kind of like consecration kind of thing you have to avoid. So just avoid all these balls, and after that try to DPS onto the boss if you can. When the heart spawns, just DPS on the heart. Avoid the tendril. Sometimes it's kind of hard as you're melee, but just do your best. Avoid the blood bombs on the floor, and avoid when he emerge out, he will hit back at you. So yeah, it's quite a few things, but after you kind of get the mechanic, it's not that scary. Tendril, just go behind him if you can, or just get out of range. Waiting for the last heart to spawn, but you have to hit him. I got hit by the balls and then the bomb. So, but and there's a consecration on the floor as well. So there's a lot of things. But if you're I think my evasion is rather good. I don't really do armor, but yeah. So that is the heart of the beast. Need to DPS down, and that's it. That's final phase. Just you and Malachi through this like a rinse and repeat kind of thing. Avoid all the bad stuff. Try your best to DPS. I mean, sometimes you can't really avoid because there's so many of them, and when you dash, you just end up onto it. But you just keep your eyes peeled. And now there's like a whirling kind of thing that go across, and that is rather hard. So you have to prioritize which one you want to trigger. You probably want to trigger the one that doesn't kill you instead. So yeah, and that is just like Marvel heroes Doctor Doom when it died, just like Diablo 3 when Diablo died, and Malachi in Path of Exile died with a big, huge, like anticipated explosion. And yeah, that's it. And after this, for those who have not tried out 3.0, would be a next journey to add 5 and beyond, and that's where I am right now. So thank you very much for watching, and that is the Ascent, by the way. And I hope you enjoy the Path of Exile as well, as much as I do. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.